Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new video. Today we're here with part 29 of our F1 2021 MyTeam career mode, and right off the bat here I've got to apologise. We were meant to be in Hungary for the next episode, but unfortunately I lost the footage for like the first 2/3 of the race, and so I'm just going to have to do a quick roundup here of what happened. And you can see our teammate Carlos Sainz took his first win of the season and of his career here in Hungary, ahead of the two Mercedes of Hamilton and Bottas, who finally got a good result there for that team. And ourselves, we came home in fourth, just ahead of Charles Leclerc there. Sorry. So yeah, really unfortunate that I lost that footage. I don't really know what happened. I only got about the last bit of the race, so just giving you a quick recap on what was missed out. You can see now in the Drivers' Championship, Sainz is in third, 1 point ahead of myself there in fourth. We've now both had one race win so far this season, so good rivalry happening here between the team, and we're third in the Constructors as well. You can see heading into Belgium this time around, we're not too far off of the guys ahead in the drivers' standings there, so hopefully we can continue to move forward and make some good progress here in Belgium, which is a track I normally do pretty well on, and it normally makes some pretty exciting races. So without further ado, let's move on to Sunday.
Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here today. But I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
But from the moment qualifying's over, you start to feel the adrenaline in your body build up and the buzz in your stomach as you anticipate the rundown into turn one. It's all a bit like going into battle, and the unknown situation makes you nervous. Those pre-race nerves are a good thing. The day you don't have them means that you don't care anymore. And of course, you have to make sure that all the procedures are second nature to you, so that they're not taking up too much of your capacity.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. It's Sergio Perez on pole position today, with Daniel Ricciardo slotting in alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Norris, Valtteri Bottas and Vettel, Sainz, Leclerc, Benjamin and Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Hamilton, Yuki Tsunoda and Ocon, Russell, Stroll, Nicholas Latifi and Antonio Giovinazzi, Matsushita, Mick Schumacher, Mazepin and Kimi Raikkonen finishes off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
So here we are on the grid for the Belgium Grand Prix. You can see we're starting out of P9. Unfortunately, it's another poor qualifying session for us to qualify right at the back of the top 10. You can see our teammate SAINZ is only in P7 as well. So not a great Saturday for the team. Hopefully both ourselves and SAINZ can move up the grid during the race. You can see Leclerc is in between us here in P8. We've got Alonso, the last car in the top 10, in the Alpine just behind us. So yeah, certainly a bit of a mixed-up field. Everyone, as I've been saying now for the last few episodes, everyone is very, very close. You can see Lando Norris just at the front of the shot here. We got Sebastian Vettel in the in the Ferrari just ahead of Sainz. So as we go up through the red lights, and it's a very short red lights there, we are underway for the Belgium Grand Prix. You can see trying to find the best line as we head into turn one, make sure we don't get any damage. Tsunoda with a massive dive into turn one. He's made an absolutely incredible move there to get himself right up into P5. Wasn't even in the top 10 at the start of this race, and now here he is in P5 ahead of both Bottas and ourselves. You can see we get ourselves ahead of Sebastian Vettel, so we have made up one place, one net place that is, into P8. So we've passed both Ferraris, but we had Tsunoda pass us. So yeah, one net position so far. You can see Vettel actually tries to dive it back down the inside at the end of the Camel Straight, but we do get it back ahead, and Sainz and Bottas are actually battling away. So Sainz has also made up one net position to move himself up into P6 as well. Actually, Vettel's come back at us again now as we head into the hairpin. Vettel does not want to lose his position. Vettel is pretty good around this track, as we've seen in real life. He's going around the outside of No Name Corner. That's a very, very bold place to try and make an overtake. That Ferrari is a decently quick car. It's not quite up to the pace of ourselves, Mercedes, McLaren and Red Bull, but they have been slowly catching up to the rest of the pack, so it's good to see Vettel putting up a fight there. You can see, unfortunately for him, though, he's dropped behind Leclerc. Having a quick look at the order, though, towards the end of the first lap, we've got Perez leading the way, so he's retained the lead. Ricciardo keeps second. It's then Verstappen in third and Norris in fourth, sort of checkerboard between Red Bull and McLaren at the front four there. Then Tsunoda has held on to his P5 for now. The young Japanese driver doing very well in the AlphaTauri. I'm sure Red Bull will be very, very happy with that. Our teammate SAINZ is in 6th, just ahead of Valtteri Bottas, the lead Mercedes, in P7. We are in P8 with the 2 Red Bulls of Leclerc and Vettel just behind us. You can see Alonso is also lost position there. Lewis Hamilton, though, I was about to point out, there he is. He is not even in the points, so Hamilton's struggling. I believe he might have had an engine penalty, so not completely his fault through qualifying. But yeah, after their good form last time out in Hungary, it looks like once again they're going to have to fight to get both cars just in the points. So yeah, Mercedes having a real shocker of a season at this point. But you can see we move on to lap number 2 now. We are closing right in on the back of Valtteri Bottas, not even using ERS at this part of the straight. We're going to have a look to the outside of the final chicane here, get up alongside. We're going to go nice and wide there to make sure we can carry speed, but it was a little bit too wide, and Bottas is able to cut back across there, and he holds on to P7, so we're going to have to cut on to lap number 3 now, just a little bit later on, and once again, we are using ARS now, though. We are properly alongside and completely ahead as we head through Blanchimont there, and we are in behind our teammate Carlos Sainz now as we head into the final chicane, and we're just not quite close enough to make the double move there to get on the inside of Carlos Sainz. We're just going to have to sit behind here in P7, and make sure we can stay as close as possible as we head down towards Eau Rouge to get that slipstream. You can see getting very close, though, a little too close, so we have to take a bit of avoiding action, and that actually means we get a really good run out of turn 1 there, so I'm actually going to have to back out of it a bit to make sure I don't run up the back of my teammate as we head through Eau Rouge and Radion here, heading up the hill, making sure to keep as much speed, keep under the rear wing of our teammate. You can see we're easily pulling out alongside before we even get properly onto the Kemmel Straight there. We've both got DRS because Tsunoda up ahead is allowing the both of us to do that, and we are going to be ahead. Sainz tries to fight it a bit, but we do eventually get ahead of our teammate and up into P6, so Sainz back down to where he started the race, but we are just looking to move forward. You can see as we move on to lap number 5, they're closing it on the AlphaTauri there with that Honda engine, obviously, again, the slowest engines in this season. So, yeah, AlphaTauri is going to struggle down the main straight there. I wouldn't be surprised to see him lose a few more spots over the course of this race after that awesome start. But that is us up into P5, and it's going to be a big struggle if we want to close in Norris, a 4.6 second gap. And you can see here, it's heading a few corners later, Tsunoda actually comes back at us again, and we make a bit of a mistake, and we're going to have to go across the grass there, and our tyres are going to be absolutely filthy now. We're going to have no grip. You can see Bottas alongside us, and I just completely understeer again, off circuit a little bit there, and that allows Leclerc through. Vettel now alongside us, and once again understeering, just trying to make sure I don't lose spots, but in doing that, I'm just making more mistakes. And you can see now, outside of the points into P11, and up ahead, Alonso and Vettel going side by side, so they're sort of blocking me from being able to make any sort of move here. You can see trying to swing around and have a look for somewhere to make the overtake, but I'm just going to have to sit behind and be patient now and hope that the cars ahead aren't able to pull too much of a gap. You can see once again just weaving around, trying to find some sort of gap that I can maybe stick my car in to get a double overtake here and get ahead of these guys, but Alonso and Vettel are just going side by side throughout this whole section. You can see I'm right on the back of the Ferrari here as we head down towards Eau Rouge. You can see I'm going to try and make it 3 right as we head towards Eau Rouge, but I decided I think the better of it there and just let these guys deal with it on their own. I back out of it. They're not worth any front wing damage or even retiring from the race. So yeah, just sitting in behind. You can see we actually got Gasly right behind us. He's trying to make a move on us, but we, with this DRS here, we're going to try and make a double overtake here. You can see we're ahead of the Alpine and we're alongside Sebastian Vettel as we head through in towards the second sector here, and we are back up into P9 now. We're going to have to chase down the cars ahead. Next up, Charles Leclerc. He's got over a second to us though, so we have to close in pretty quick or else we're just going to get left behind because those guys are in a bit of a DRS train. So if we're not able to get into that DRS train, the guys behind will be all over us. You can see on lap 7 though, our teammate Carlos Sainz into the pit lane. It should be a pretty simple one-stop around this track. That's the normal strategy. You can see Ricciardo's in. He's on the hard tyre, so Ricciardo's on a one-stop. SAINZ should hopefully be pitting onto the hard tyres as well. You can see Vettel's into the pit lane, so too is Lewis Hamilton. He's on the hard tyres. All these guys are going onto the hard tyres. You can see there's Vettel. Here is SAINZ pitting onto the hard tyres. So all these guys going into one stop. And there's Ricciardo coming out in P12 there, just ahead of Giovinazzi. But interesting to see that they're on the hard tyres, because we're meant to be pitting just a lap or two later, and we're going to be pitting onto the medium tyres. You can see here we are, the next lap, end of lap 8, coming into the pit lane, same to Bottas and Leclerc. You can also see Alonso, Gasly, Stroll. Everyone's coming in for their pit stop now on lap 8, and then anyone that hasn't so far, I imagine, will come in at the end of this lap on lap 9. You can see Bottas is on the medium tyres. We're going to be on the medium tyres. I believe AlphaTauri should be on the mediums. Leclerc is on hards, actually. I think Leclerc's on the hards. So interesting there. You can see we have to do a front wing change as well, though, and that has really screwed us up. So maybe just running off track on the grass gave us a little bit of front wing damage, and that means we've dropped right to the back of the field now. You can see we're in P18. Obviously, there's some cars ahead that are yet to make their pit stop, so we'll make up a few spots, but yeah, right down at the back of the field now. We've got a lot of work to do with the remainder of this race if we want to get ourselves further up the field. You can see just quickly scrolling through. So yeah, both Ferraris on hard tyres. Gasly was on mediums though, so yeah, interesting to see the sort of different strategies playing out. The medium tyre runners, including ourselves, will be very quick now after the pit stops, but towards the end of the race, all the guys on hards will be pretty slow. And you can see both McLarens are on hards, and both Red Bulls are actually on mediums. So even just there in the front fight, the two teams, a big change happening. You can see here's Perez. Perez hasn't actually pit yet, so that was my mistake. He's not made his pit stop yet. He has now, though, on lap 10. You can see we're closed in on the back of Lance Stroll there in the Aston Martin. We're going to sweep around the outside there with the help of ERS, and now we are closing in on the back of Alonso, who we did that awesome double overtake on before. So we're going to have to make a dive into the chicane. I don't want to waste any more time behind the Spaniard there. There goes Latifi and the Williams into the pit lane. And Alonso putting up a good fight here. Alonso, we know, a very good defender in Formula 1, but we're once again down the inside here at turn 1. We're going to go side by side, but we do just about get ahead. Yes, we do. Alonso pulls in behind us, and that is P11 as we now head down towards Eau Rouge and Radion on lap number 12. We are right on the back of Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes. Lewis has been very off form in Season 2 of our career mode here. You can see he's on the hard tyres as well, so very easy pickings down the straight with DRS. He didn't have DRS because Vettel's too far ahead. So that is ourselves back up into the points in P10. And now we've just got to chase down the two Ferraris who are both on hard tyres, so we've got to make sure we maximise the better tyre option that we've got on at the moment. You can see heading through Radion, we are closed in on the back of Sebastian Vettel, the German who's returned to Ferrari for this season. He's not going to have DRS, but we're going to pull to the inside of the Kemmel Straight here, and we are very easily through on the Ferrari and into P9. You can see up ahead SAINZ is in P6, so he hasn't been able to really benefit. He has actually got ahead of Sonoda though, but Bottas has gotten ahead of him, so a little bit of shaking up happening after the pit stops there. But yeah, not too much happening as we head onto lap 14. You can see trying to close in on the cars ahead, but looking up ahead, here is Perez battling Ricciardo here to get into the lead. Verstappen's already overtaken Ricciardo and taken off on the medium tyres, and now Perez trying to put up a fight against the McLaren. As I was saying, both Red Bulls on the medium, so they're going to be the quicker car at this stage of the race, but I imagine the McLarens will be quicker in the very late stages. But you can see Perez fighting to get ahead of our fellow Australian here. Ricciardo putting up an amazing fight on the harder tyres, and the McLaren, I believe, is a slightly slower car on paper to the Red Bull, but you can see Perez finally gets the move done through Pouon, and actually Lando's able to sweep through as well, so a bit of a order change there in the McLaren standings as well. So yeah, the fight at the front, certainly interesting. You can see Verstappen is absolutely dominating this race though. 3.8 second lead he has over now his teammate, so Verstappen should be pretty comfortable unless he has some sort of car issue. I'd imagine he'd be pretty comfortable to go on and win this Grand Prix now with such a lead, and having his teammate there to hold the McLarens back even more is certainly some good bidding there for him to go and win this race. But you can see we are very much closing in on Charles Leclerc up ahead, and as we move on to lap 16, we have closed in on the Monegasque driver, who himself is right on the back of Yuki Tsunoda. So the AlphaTauri may be struggling now on those medium tyres, obviously a less developed car than who he's fighting with, so I imagine he's going to tear through those tyres a bit quicker. But we are up alongside Charles Leclerc now. We're going to sweep around the outside of Blanchimont, and that is us back up into P8 now. And we're going to have to try and make sure we get ahead of Tsunoda as soon as possible, because I don't want to be backed up into Leclerc. Obviously, if we leave it too long, I imagine Leclerc won't want to be sitting around, and he'll try and make a move on us as soon as he possibly can as we head in towards Turn 1. Deciding to stick behind Tsunoda here because I want to have the DRS down the Camel Straight, or otherwise I'll just be overtaken by the both of these guys once again, and all of the progress will just be gone, basically, and, you know, even more chance of an incident and whatnot. So just sitting in behind the Japanese driver at the moment, but now we're going to go full attack here. We've got DRS, we had the slipstream, we've got the better engine using ERS, we've got everything in our favour here down the Camel Straight, and we're able to pull back onto the racing line well before the braking zone there, and that is ourselves up into P7, and now chasing down our teammate Carlos Sainz for P6 there. And once again, it looks like we may be battling our teammate for position by the end of this race. Obviously, in the driver's standings, he is ahead of me by a single point. So this battle, whoever comes out on top of the two of us here will be the lead driver for the team in the driver's standings. As you can see, on to lap 20, we are right on the back of our teammate, obviously against Sainz on the hard tyres. So the tyres, I'd say, are pretty equal by this stage of the race now, and it's only going to get more and more in his favour. So we easily get the move done there into the Camel Straight, into the right-left chicane we've got going on here, and that is us up into P6, but I doubt we're going to be able to close in on Bottas now, because Bottas is on the same tyres as us, and he's got that 4-second gap, and I feel like it's sort of more a case of just trying to consolidate this P6 now as we head through No Name Corner there, and trying to pull a gap on Sainz. But you can see, coming on to lap 21, I just haven't been able to, and our teammate is all over the back of us as we head through turn 1, just trying to get as good an exit as possible to make sure he stays behind us heading down towards Eau Rouge and Raidillon. But you can see he's well within a second, so he's going to have DRS, and in the later stages of the races where the AI normally saves up all their ERS to use in full attack mode. So as we head down the straight, his sign's going to get close enough for a move. You can see he's getting closer and closer, and it's getting actually very close, and he's going to go for a really nice dive there to the inside at the end of the straight, and we're going to go side by side, very respectful between the two of us. Obviously, at this stage of the season, we are now over halfway through the season. We haven't had any bad blood between us yet, so very respectful between the both of us to make sure we consolidate as many points for the team as possible. And you can see SAINZ is able to get through there, and we actually make a bit of a mistake, and he gets a very nice gap now. He's got about 8/10 on us, so I'm going to have to make sure I can maybe close in, or at least just stay within a second, but running a bit wide through Puon there, so losing a bit of time through the dirty air. But on to lap 22, the final lap of the race. We are struggling to close in on the back of our teammate, and it looks like he might have it. We're going to cut to the leaders here. Max Verstappen easily comes through to win the Belgium Grand Prix here for Red Bull. His second win of the season, and the second driver in this career of this season to win multiple races. You can see Perez in second, Lando and Ricciardo finished third and fourth, so good points by both those teams. And actually, we're side by side with SAINZ heading into the final chicane. We're going to go side by side through the final corner, trying to plant the power, but just slightly overdoing it, and SAINZ just beats us over the finish line. What a race.
What a great race then, and what a magnificent victory here at the Belgian Grand Prix. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win.
So here we are with the results for the Belgian Grand Prix. Verstappen takes the win there in Red Bull in his pursuit of Lando Norris in the Drivers' Championship. But it's a 1-2 for Red Bull, for Perez finishing second there. It's a 3-4 for McLaren. So some good points for them in the constructors fight. And you can see it's 6-7 for us. SAINZ literally just beating us by 0.01 of a second. In terms of the driver standing, Ricciardo leapfrogs both myself and SAINZ, and we both lose 1 position respectively. The points between us now are only 2 points. So it went from 1 point to 2 points after that crazy race. Obviously, we got the fastest lap as well, so that helped us keep a bit closer to our teammate. You can see Verstappen's in 6th place, only a couple points behind myself now, so very, very close in the championship. You can see in the constructors, we are in a pretty solid 3rd. We're pretty good ahead of Red Bull, but if they keep doing races like they just did, then they are very, very likely going to close in on us. So we could have a 4-way title fight in the constructors, but yeah, that's going to be it for this episode, guys. Again, apologies for missing out on Hungary, but yeah, I've sorted out that issue, and hopefully it doesn't happen again. But if you did enjoy this episode, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to see more content like it, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.